Hello, Drake Hawkins, musical optimistic here. Today, I'm going to be adding another entry to my discography ranked series by ranking every JPEGMAFIA album from worst to best. Now, based on that title, you may be expecting me to rank his Devin Hendrix, or The Rockwood Escape Plan, or Joe Chill World material, but no. I'm not doing that. One, because it would pretty much just be in the order it was released, starting with whatever the first project was and ending with the Ghost Pop tape before we get to the first record on the list. But two, because this is a JPEGMAFIA ranking, not JPEGMAFIA's other old pseudonyms that he stopped working on like over a decade ago ranking. And so in this video, I'm just going to be ranking his 5 studio albums, 4 of which solo, 1 of which collaborative with Danny Brown. And while I didn't rank Scaring the Hoes and Danny's Discog ranking, I will be doing it here because it's basically JPEGMAFIA featuring Danny Brown. And I was planning on waiting to do this video for when he drops his newest album, but that was supposed to happen like near the end of last year, and it's almost the middle of the next year. I don't know when that's fucking happening, so let's just do this list now. So yeah, bottom of the list, number 5.
And I swear on James Brown, if you try me, red hooks on them like Spike Lee.
Black Ben Carson. There are some great tracks here, like Drake Era, the second track, 27 Club, Try Me. But a good deal of this album is just pretty like spacey blends of like cloud rap and industrial hip hop, which would be fine for like maybe 10, 12 tracks. But this thing is 22 tracks in an hour and 23 minutes. So by the end of it, it's kind of just a drag. Especially because this is just a much less polished version of what he would go on to do on records like Veteran and LP to an extent. Like the overcompression on a lot of these tracks make the main instrumental just drown out and duck down in volume anytime any sort of bass or kick comes in, because you can definitely tell this was when his production was kind of still in its infancy. Like, yes, he had made projects before this, but this was his first real project under the JPEGMAFIA pseudonym, and it definitely kind of shows that it is his first project doing this. While there are some good tracks here that I'll come back to, I'm not listening to this full hour-and-a-half album again, because Peggy just has much better projects that we're going to get to, and honestly, after this project, everyone that we're going to get to is at least an 8 out of 10. This one is just fine. It's whatever. I didn't hate it, but it's certainly not a high watermark that he cannot reach again. Like, he does better. And so yeah, at number 4,
I need all my bitches same color as Drake. If they not, then they getting rocked.
Veteran, his 2018 release, the one that came right after Blend Black. Am I going fucking stupid? This is kind of like Black Ben Carson, but trimmed down in length, and all the production and rapping and just mixing and every idea here is just so much more polished, and it's just better, like in fucking every way. Literally the first 5-track run of 1539 North Calvert, Real, Thug Tears, Damn, and Baby I'm Bleeding is like the best 5-track run in like almost any album I've heard, period. This album runs so fluidly and non-stop, and it's pretty much just Peggy venting about his frustrations and angers on so many different things. He does it in such a forceful, up-in-your-face way that is just captivating from front to back. There are moments like in the middle and the back end of this record that do feel a bit more spacey, but they're clearly trying to be, as they have a more cloud rap edge, whether it's My Thoughts on Neo Gaff, Dying, Macaulay Culkin. But even those tracks have a sort of vibe and aesthetic that help flow the album along perfectly, because if this album was just hard-hitting banger after hard-hitting banger after hard-hitting banger, it would get very tiring very fucking fast. But I think this album does effectively walk the line of being masterful and just captivating, while also having that sort of chill edge, and also a melodic edge on tracks like Panic Emoji. This album is so full of energy, so full of wit, so full of humor as well on tracks like Libtard Anthem and fucking DJ Snitch Bitch Interlude, which is one of my favorite tracks on the record. Like, it's literally just chopping up white noise, but it's fucking flames. My complaints with this album and why it is like at the number 4 spot is I feel like there are a couple tracks on here that are a bit too sarcastic or a bit too spacey, like the title track DD Form 214, which if you don't know is the form that you get when you become a veteran, so it's kind of the title track. I feel like that it's kind of just a bit too ambient or spacey for me. 1488, I believe, has a very upbeat, like synth plucky melody, which feels like a song that like Trevor from GTA 5 would have, which is a weird complaint. But the placement of the track is also weird, in between Curb Stomp and Rainbow Six being two of the most like downtrodden and hard-hitting tracks on the record. Having this weird upbeat portion is wrong. I could also be wrong about what song I'm thinking of. Okay, yeah, no, I'm wrong. I cannot fucking wait until Morrissey dies. Yeah, it's a nice message, I guess, but it's weird coming in between Williamsburg and Rainbow Six. Like, it's just a weird fucking bright spot to have, but it's still a decent track. I don't know. Great album, good album. Definitely check it out. It's an experimental hip hop, like touchstone, cornerstone masterpiece that, like, if you're interested with the genre at all and you have not heard it, you have to hear it. Also, why the fuck is the limit on my audio recording so small? Number 3, let's just get to it.
If he fallin' that floor, don't go. Gone. This ain't built for this page of my art. This shit they put a stain on my heart.
LP, specifically the offline version, as there were 2 versions that released. Now, I haven't listened to the online version, so I can't tell you exactly what the main differences are, but from what I've read and from what I've seen from other people, is that it basically just gets rid of certain songs that he couldn't get sample clearances on. It has tracks from like EP1 and EP2 thrown in near the end to make up for the gaps in the track listing. And I have heard the version of Thought's Prayer that is on the online version, and it's just without the sample, which means that it's pretty much missing the backbone of the song. Like, if you haven't heard the online version of Thought's Prayer and you love the offline version, as anyone should, go listen to that and you'll see that the choir fucking vocals are fucking necessary. Now, while I do really enjoy this album, I will say that pretty much every Peggy record suffers from bloat. Like, this album does not need to be 20 tracks in 55 minutes, especially with as many ideas as he throws in here, as he'll just pummel you with idea after idea after idea that makes this hour-long record feel like an hour and a half longer. But when I actually look at the tracks and what I would cut, there's not a whole lot I would. Well, the first thing I would do is fucking restore the old version of Rebound, because for some reason, Peggy decided to update the offline version of Rebound and add another shitty verse in the middle of where the first chorus used to be. Like, he literally disrupted the flow of his song to give himself another verse where he's just bragging about fucking other people's bitches. Like, what are you doing? You're literally just fucking up the song. Like, it genuinely worsened the offline version of the song for me, and he changed it on streaming, he changed it on Bandcamp, he changed it on literally everything. The online version, before he changed it, was essentially the same structure, so you can listen to that and see what the structure was beforehand. It's just that the online version has a cleaner mix and a slower tempo for some fucking reason. So I can't even listen to the online version in the context of this album because it doesn't fucking fit. I would also maybe cut the 100 interlude, track 11, that comes right after Rebound, because that's basically just a chopped and screwed version of 100 Shots by Young Dolph. But it serves as like a nice interlude between Rebound and OG. So I wouldn't really cut it. I guess you could say you could cut Fire Emoji, because it's essentially just Panic Emoji from Veteran, but a little bit better. And I'd say Damn 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 isn't that much of a necessary track, as Ghost of Ranking Dread essentially serves as a great outro with its massive guitars, and then Untitled is like a great little afterthought for the project. But pretty much other than those gripes, there's not a whole lot that I have issue with on this album. Pretty much every track here is just really fun, hard-hitting, sometimes glitchy, bits of hardcore hip-hop, experimental hip-hop, alternative R&B at points with tracks like Fire Emoji, like I said. Also, Tired, Nervous, and Broke, that's like a perfect song. I will say that I do skip the outro every time, just because unless you're listening to the context of the album, it's not too necessary. It's like a little piano sung bit with Kimbra. But it's fine. Great album, but even better is our number 2 album. Scaring the Hoes with Danny Brown. This actually might be my favorite Peggy record, but since I've already constructed the list like a few weeks ago, I don't feel like editing myself. And the reason this might actually be my favorite is because it gets rid of some of the issues that I've had with the structuring of Peggy's records in the past. The bloat is gone. It's just 14 tracks, 36 minutes of just banger after banger after banger. Like, literally everything here. I love everything here. Like, even the outro, Where You Get Your Coke From, a track that I thought was kind of half-baked and whatever at first, is one that grows on me with every single listen. Same with Run the Jewels. It's pretty much just a nice interlude between God Loves You and Jack Harlow Combo Meal, which Jack Harlow Combo Meal is essentially just an extension of the next track, Heaven on Earth. There's also that same feeling with Lean Beef Patty and Step a Pig. Lean Beef Patty is basically just a track that they put out to get people more interested in the record, and it's basically just a part 1 to Step a Pig, as that track takes the same sort of glitchy, experimental, noisy hip-hop aesthetics and pushes it even further. Not to mention, the sense of humor from both Peggy and Danny on this record is just absolutely fucking palpable, and this is like easily the best produced rap album, best produced project of the 2020s so far. It's not the best album of the 2020s so far, as I feel like some of the lyrics lean a bit towards being too old head and too stupid for my liking. Like, the production on any Peggy record is fantastic and noteworthy, but the production on this one is just next fucking level. I will say that the Nelly sample on Leave Beef Patty being sped up to the point of incoherence and like almost overstimulation on the bridge of that song, still a moment that I don't love that much. But their sampling of like a symphonic performance on Perfect, the weird beach house sax thing on Scaring the Hose, all of the sampling on here is done so brilliantly. All of the distortion and stuff on this album is fantastic. Fentanyl Tester's the one with a milkshake or whatever, the sampled. That's brilliant. Literally nobody would ever create weirdo music in this way. And I'm glad that this album exists. It's fucking fantastic. Like, there's not a skip on here. It's almost a 10 out of 10 record. It's so damn good. At number 1, topping the list, my personal favorite as of it's All My Heroes Are Cornballs.
I can't feel my face, oh God. SMH, no ASMR.
While this album is 18 tracks long, and I've criticized other albums for that, some of the tracks here are basically just interludes or intros for the next track, like JPEGMAFIA type beat goes into Grimy Waifu perfectly. I think BBW was an interlude. Looking at the track list right now, based on the names, I don't remember, because honestly, this album just flows together as one song very coherently. Like, this album is just one very coherent experience from front to back that, like, if you haven't listened to a Peggy record, this is probably the one that I would recommend you check out first, because this is also his most accessible record, with it having a more alternative R&B pop aesthetic on some of the hooks here, like Jesus Forgive Me, I Am a Thought, having its sing-songy ass chorus there. It's fantastic. All My Heroes Are Cornballs. So the melodicism on this album is pushed to a higher level than Peggy's ever done previously or up to this point, and it's like, yeah, it's fantastic. Free the Frail with Helena Dayland or whatever. Probably his best like pop rap track ever. It's such a catchy ass moment, and the feature does great. Like, track 16 is literally just an instrumental remix of Peggy's verse on Kenny Beats' show, The Cave. Very fucking convoluted sentence. I'm not retaking that. This is pretty much his best album for like very simple reasons. Because this is just a very simple record. It's pretty bare bones. It's pretty straightforward, and there's not a whole lot to get from it lyrically, but there's like not a whole lot to get from any Peggy record lyrically. I'm gonna blow my fucking head off. I've been recording for like, what, 30 minutes now? Yeah, I've been recording for 23 minutes, and probably a good more than half of that is just me stuttering my way through a goddamn sentence. I can't do this. Yeah, pretty much every track on here is either a bop, a banger, or just a nice little interlude. And I wouldn't really cut anything from it. It's a perfect length. It's a perfect album. His singing is great. Even on Song for Sorrel or whatever, which some people don't like his singing on, I think it's beautiful and it fits with the rest of the record, especially going into Thought Tactics. So yeah, great album, perfect album in my opinion. And yeah, I would say that is the best album in Peggy's discography thus far, until he releases his next album, whenever the fuck that will be. That is all I have to say. I am done recording this shit. Bye.